Com 247 live podcast here. G-Man here in the house today. We're trying something a little different here with a live podcast through Google and through Hangout. Just experimenting a little bit to see how the podcasts are going to come out, see how things are going to look here as far as broadcasting live. And today, as we said, we talk about the weather propagation reports here from the DX 247 Weather Central. And of course, over the last 24 to 36 hours, the weather changes that came about off the eastern seaboard quite drastic. We went from one extreme of severe cold weather, high pressure, low pressure systems, the evidence of shock pockets at ground level, shock pockets in the upper atmosphere, and all the upper air disturbances that we've experienced over the last couple of days. And then all of a sudden we have this eastern push. And unfortunately, it brought the snow. It brought a drastic change in temperatures to the south, to the southeast, pulling in some moist, warmer air, mixing with the high pressure systems coming down out of the northwest. And lo and behold, here we have a lot of snow that went up the eastern coast, up around the Virginia area. It actually started a little bit here in the South North Carolina area. Not a whole lot of snow fell. We had maybe on the eastern parts of the Carolinas here, maybe 1 inch to 2 inches in some of the areas. But as it worked its way up the coast, getting up and toward the Virginia area, they experienced about 6 to 8 inches of snow. And the further up the coast it went, of course, the snow accumulations were much greater. And from what we had seen, the snow accumulations all the way up through the tri-state area and up around New York were upwards of anywhere from 12 to 18 inches. Temperatures were down in the teens, high winds, a lot of upper air disturbances, a lot of high pressure and low pressures combining, creating these shock pockets and also creating these upper wind disturbances as well. So this is something here that, like we said, was kind of expected. On the couple days ago when we did the propagation reports, we weren't really sure which way the storm was going to go, if there was in fact going to be any kind of a storm. But over the course of 24 hours, we did watch it, and the eastern seaboard did pick up and gain momentum coming in off the coast areas, bringing in a lot of moisture, a lot of warm air, and a lot of damp, moist weather that came with this wind. As the warm air and the moisture all connected with this upper air disturbance and the high pressures with the cold air coming down, of course, it formed the snow. Some areas got a lot of snow and slush mix. Some got ice. A combination of a lot of things happened. But for the most part, folks, the majority of snow that fell to the New England areas and up around the eastern seaboard areas, from what we've heard and what we've seen, the weather forecasting really was not that bad. Areas in New York, Long Island, up around the coastal areas, they did pick up a little bit more snow than they expected. 12 to 18 inches was what they actually got. More inland areas such as Massachusetts, Connecticut, parts of New York State, upper New York State, they were already experiencing high pressure systems up there with severe cold weather, single digit numbers, actually some below zero. Below zero temperatures were registered and recorded all the way out Iowa and north, up through Canada, all the way across the Canadian areas, all the way up Toronto, Quebec, Montreal. They experienced sub-zero, minus 25 to minus 30 degree temperatures. And as you work your way across the northern areas and work over towards Maine, New Brunswick, all up and through there, temperatures did vary. They were sub-zero temperatures, anywhere ranging from minus 10 to minus 20 below zero. High winds that were coming in along with those temperatures, very, very unbearable and very unsafe conditions. But right now, it looks like a lot of this pressure system that's coming in off the coast has somewhat dissipated now. We're not anticipating anything right now as far as snow accumulations through the North Carolina, up around Virginia, up and through there. We're not expecting any kind of accumulation. As a matter of fact, as the next 24 hours transpires, we're actually looking at some warmer temperatures starting all the way down in Florida. And if you remember, Florida was experiencing temperatures teens, 12, 15, 18 degrees. The panhandle areas down around towards Tampa, 28 degrees. Now the temperatures over the next course of 24 hours, you're going to see these temperatures back up close to the 40-degree mark, a little bit higher, mid 40s. And through the central parts of Florida, temperatures upwards of 45 to 50. Drastic change. Here in the Carolinas as well, temperatures were in the high single digits, 8, 9, 10 degrees, upwards of 11, 12 degrees, up around 14 degrees. Daytime highs have been averaging about 26 to 30 degrees. Currently here in the North Carolina area here on top of the Gold Hill, we're at 33 degrees right now. Slight wind out of the northwest at about 6 to 10 mile an hour. And temperatures last night got down to 9 degrees. Very cold night last night. Very cold here in the Carolina Gold Hills. And like I say, over the next couple of days, we are looking at another change. We're looking at temperatures by Monday to be upwards of the low 40s. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Prediction. Now, this could change again, but the temperatures right now look like they're going to be somewhere between 35 to the 42-degree range. No precipitation is in the forecast at this time, which is a good thing. Now, propagation reports and DX conditions. Currently today is again at a lull as far as DX conditions go. A lot of sun pockets up there. We're experiencing a lot of the solar issues again, coming off of the sun right there. And what we're dealing with right now, this lull, is probably going to last us for about another 24 hours. Don't expect the DX propagation conditions to get any bit better. Now, again, these propagation reports do not necessarily reflect the entire United States. Propagations right now on the eastern seaboard areas are going to be at their lull, going to be at a minimum. Excuse me. As you work your way from the East Coast, get over towards like Tennessee, up, down through the Ohio Valley and over, you may see some intermittent DX conditions. Pockets will fall in and out, but quick. Pockets will move in and move out just as quick as they came in. Propagation reports may last anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes and then dissipate. Recommendations, if you hear it and you can try to do it, make every effort. Can't guarantee how long they're going to last. But again, we are going to be dealing with a drastic change of upper air disturbances. One more time, the solar flares are going to be kicking in over the next 24 to 36 hours. And you'll find that these propagation reports are going to change continuously, day to day, hour by hour. So right now, at this time of day, we're at 3:02 in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time right now, and the DX condition propagations are showing minimal, none to minimal at this time. Ground conditions are actually improving. Your local conditions, as we call ground conditions, ground skip, it looks like that the lower ionosphere levels from that 60 to 600 feet have cleared the way, have opened up a little bit. And as far as your ground conditions, they look pretty favorable. Expect good ground conditions anywhere in the range from 25 to 75 mile range. And again, now we're also looking at vertical and horizontal conditions are both favorable. So if the opportunity prevails and you do hear DX out there, I would recommend that you run with the vertical transmission to start, because they will eventually run horizontal, as you all know. But I would start off with vertical conditions due to the drastic changes in upper air, lower atmosphere, lower ionosphere versus atmosphere conditions. So I would recommend that you go vertical and try to run DX that way. And if you succeed vertically, then continue to run that. If you hear and you see that the conditions are slowly changing while you're transmitting or during your receive, if you have the capabilities to flip back and forth, the vertical or horizontal, try that. But I would say definitely vertical would be your way to start right now. And we'll see what happens as the evening time gets closer here, because what we're looking at tonight is we're looking at some very cold temperatures in the northeast, down along the eastern seaboard area. As you work your way towards the west and southwest, temperatures are going to be on the rise. Temperatures are going to be upwards of high 50s to possibly to the 60 mark over the next couple of days towards the Texas area. But again, Texas, that's about as far up as you're going to see them temperatures rising. Once you get up in the Iowa area, from, let's say, from St. Louis or the Missouri area, Arkansas, Kansas, and over, no, you're still going to be in the midst of that cold weather. You're still going to be in the midst of those high pockets, bringing down all that cold air. This time it is going to be a moist air coming down, cold and moist air. So expect a lot of changes up in the north central areas and mountain areas such as Michigan, Wisconsin, all up through there in the Great Lakes area. You can expect some snow coming in your way. You can expect some drastic changes in temperatures also up that way. So everywhere that you look throughout the United States now, the DX propagation conditions are spotty, none, possibly, impossible, no way possible at all, to who knows, who can tell on the West Coast. We don't get the propagation reports off the Pacific coast. Everything that we get comes from the north, the central area, mountain area, East Coast, and over in that area there. I don't know why we don't get the Pacific coast. Now, looking down as far as conditions for European conditions, it's almost right now at a zero condition. Anything from the eastern coast over that way of the England, Germany, France, all those countries over there, no conditions running here to the United States. What you will start hearing in the early morning hours over the course of the next 48 hours, you will start hearing some of the South American countries. You'll start hearing countries out of the Dutch Caribbean because of that warm air that had pushed in from the eastern seaboard area. It is also bringing in that high pressure system, which is going to bring the DX along with it off of the southeastern European country areas. Countries like Australia, New Zealand, propagations are slim to none getting up anywhere above the equator and up. You can look at anywhere from Australia down to New Zealand. That's pretty much where their line is going to stay. Nothing is going to travel hip to the East Coast here. South America, like I say, you can expect to hear them. Jamaica, you'll start to hear them coming in. The blue water areas will start to come in probably by sometime tomorrow. Expect those conditions to change. Receive capabilities will be starting to look pretty good Saturday and Sunday for the South American countries here. And by Monday, by January 8th, what you will see more than likely is you will see that the DX is going to turn completely 360 degrees. So that means that the conditions are going to start to be more favorable as these temperatures start to change, and as we start working our way on the upscale of getting rid of this downdraft of cold and this high pressure suppression that's coming down, you can start to see a change. And you'll start to see that the conditions will start to be more in your favor. As far as time frames go, the time frames are going to be somewhat sporadic. According to the propagation charts, anywhere from 1000 hours in the morning, 10 o'clock a.m., up until 1300 hours at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. In between, you'll find pockets of very strong and very weak. And then after 1300 hours, after 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you could see some very strong conditions coming in. This is Monday now. You could see some very strong DX conditions coming, not off the coast, but along the coastal areas, tri-state areas, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, New York, all Vermont up and through there, Massachusetts, upstate New York, working their way towards the south, southwest, southeast. So expect that sometime late Monday to start happening. And by Tuesday, with the temperatures reaching that they're saying anywhere in the high 50s in some areas, high 40s from the southeast area here, you can really expect to see some propagation starting to come in pretty good over the course of the next 72 hours. I hope that the conditions will be in your favor. Conditions wise, as far as vertical versus horizontal, I would say that at a guesstimation right now, I would say that most of the conditions are going to be a mixture of both, because like you say, vertical will run horizontal, but I think it's going to be kind of an operator's choice. If you have vertical, run vertical. If you have capabilities of running both, run both. As far as excuse me, time frames, in the evening time, places such as the Northeast, you'll probably have very good skip conditions towards the latter part of the evening after sun sets. Reason being because those solar flares are going to start taking that cold front and dissipating that cold front. They're going to start taking away some of that suppression and allowing some of the signals to be able to be propagated from up in the Northeast areas. So keep your eyes on that. Keep your eye on the temperature change. And remember, you can always, if you don't hear conditions, you can try to make your own conditions. How would you do that? Take it up to some of the higher frequencies. Take it above 27,415. Take it up to 27,485 and above. Work upper, lower sideband areas. Create your own propagation conditions. It will be there, but you may have to work for it a little bit. And as far as during the week next week, I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted over the next 24 hours again. I'll continue to watch the propagation charts and see if there's anything that's going to drastically change. So right now, like I say, do your best to run vertically, run horizontal, wait for the conditions to pick up. Right now, we're at that lull. Wait until you start to hear the DX coming in. And more than likely, as we say, you're going to start hearing the DX coming in from the Northeast, tri-state areas and working their way down. That's pretty much almost a guarantee. You folks up in Canada, you're pretty much going to be on the borderline of no conditions versus small conditions or very few. Sorry to say it, but due to the high pressure system and the temperatures that you're experiencing up there, and with the fronts that are pushing across, you're still going to be in a lot of northern suppression up there. You're still going to be into those frontal boundaries that are going to pretty much restrict you, even local talking. Your local propagations in Canada are going to be pretty tough. Getting across the border with, minimal conditions, possibly. What I would strongly recommend for the people up there in Canada and the higher plains areas up that way is, again, running conditions parallel to the horizontal may not be a bad idea. If you have capabilities of running flat side, I would go ahead and give that a shot first. If you feel as though that the horizontal position is not working, flip to the vertical side, but at least wait until you start to hear the propagations coming in. because right now it's probably a silent mode out there, but it could change that quick. So keep your eyes and your ears posted to your radio if you can, and wait till you see the conditions will start to change. When they start to change, don't hit it right away. Wait a little bit. Wait until it builds up. You'll be able to tell when it starts to really rise. Then you hit it. Hit it quick. Hit it quick. Hit it quick, and then go. See what happens. You're going to have to kind of work for it a little bit, but I think you'll be okay. I think you'll have some good chances of running some DX throughout Canada. I know over the last couple of days, some of our Canadian friends on the DX247, DXCOM 247 group have been telling us about very minimal conditions. Nothing we can do about that, man. Nothing we can do. It was forecasted to you, last week with the high pressure systems, and it's a continuous flow. If you look at the jet streams right now, it is a nonstop still, but it's not as widespread. It's more confined now to a narrower band and a tighter band. So again, like I say, pay attention to it, because right above that frontal that's coming down, there are going to be some pockets opening up. There's some upper air disturbances with solar flares that are creating some of these dip effects. Keep an eye on it. Pay attention to your radios. Best thing to do too is if you watch your local weather channel, you'll be able to watch these boundaries and where they're moving and the direction that they're moving into, and you'll pretty much be able to see where these pockets are going to start to form. And how you can tell when a pocket is starting to form, you see that well-defined line. Well, all of a sudden you start to see a little curvature. You start to see a little curvature in that line. That's the beginning of the pocket. Try to follow that defined line and look for those dips. As you start to see those dips, there's your shock pocket starting to open up. Shock pockets, as we said before, are severe things that happen. Upper air disturbances, solar flares. They're a combination and a merger of all different types of atmospheric disturbances at one time, and they create these pockets. The other thing that somebody was asking is, again, yes, shock pockets can occur at ground level. A very easy and simple way to tell a shock pocket on the ground. If you've ever noticed when you have temperatures like we have here and see that early morning looks like a misty fog so many feet off the ground, that is a low pressure shock pocket in the ionosphere level from that 60 to 600 feet. You may not always see it, but it's there. I can't begin to say whether they're going to continue. The propagation charts and the weather charts are not saying that they're going to continue. What they're saying is that it will be sporadic. The ground shock pockets will be sporadic, and as far as when they're scheduling to either be gone or what, there's no telling. There's no telling. Now, I will say this much, though. As you see the temperatures over the next several days start to really increase and rise in temperature, expect a lot of lower atmospheric changes. Okay? Conditions, even local conditions, are going to change drastically. You may have issues as these temperatures start to rise with this cool air and the eastern seaboard temperatures causing this rise in temperature. You can expect some drastic changes in that propagation. Now, as the morning progresses on, as we said earlier in the feed here, 10 o'clock to 1300 hours, 10 to 1, may be your best time. 0600 hours from sun up till 10 o'clock may be very tough for even local. So play it by the clock, play it by ear, listening to your radio, listening to the forecasts, If you have any questions on propagation charts, you can contact me. I'll keep you posted. I'll get another weather map up there sometime today. So for right now, we're going to go ahead and close out the Friday afternoon weather propagation here. And we'll catch everybody live back on the group page. DXCOM 247, Radio Communications 247 group page. G-Man here in the Weather Central, DXCOM 247 Weather Central here in the Gold Hills of North Carolina, bringing you this afternoon's propagation report. Have a great afternoon, everybody. We'll catch you in a little while. 73s to you. G-Man back on the quiet side. Goodbye, everybody.